Hello, real estate professionals. Welcome to another Agent Advantage webinar. Thank you for joining. My name is Kurt Klaus. These webinars are brought to you by the Guaranteed Rate family of companies and our no-cost Agent Advantage website. Agent Advantage, for those that are not part of it already, is our technology, marketing, coaching platform. Our goal at Agent Advantage is to help you earn more money, help make your life easier, help you look good to your clients. Today's webinar, our topic is how to improve your appointment setting skills. Really important today. One of the big takeaways from this past year's NAR conference was that agents, you must make setting face-to-face appointments a priority. Everyone's back together. So to help you get better at sourcing, at making, at scheduling, at executing more appointments to contracts, we have brought on some successful agents to share their insights and their tips and their best practices with you today. So without further ado, I would like to welcome from St. Petersburg, Florida, and the Hurzwurm Home Group at Compass Real Estate, Leah Hurzwurm. Thank you, Leah. How are you today?
Good. And you pronounced my last name correctly.
I know. I was nervous about that all day. Hurzwurm. I love it.
Hurzwurm. Yep. I must really love him. I went from a three-letter last name to Hurzwurm, but we're rolling with it.
It's memorable. How's everything on the west coast of Florida?
Crazy, just as I'm sure it is in most other cities. But I think, Tampa Bay is such a unique market where we are just having people flee to our area. Just people moving here every day. So it's an exciting time. It's a stressful time. It's a busy time, but busy is a blessing.
Yep, absolutely. People are all flying down there. So maybe start off by just telling us a little bit about your business and your team and your market, who's part of the Hurzwurm Homes Group and what their roles are before we ask you some more specific questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just celebrated my 5-year anniversary in the business last September. At that time, we also made a very big move. I was with Keller Williams for those 5 years, and I'm forever thankful for my time there. Best training company, best start that I could have asked for. But I brought my team to Compass last September, and it's been an amazing move. My team consists of obviously myself. I'm the principal agent and kind of lead listing agent on the team. And then I have a full-time transaction coordinator who manages back to close, as well as kind of an operations manager, Danielle, who is amazing. And she is, I like to call her kind of our client experience manager, because she does all of our past client touches. She's making sure that they're getting brownies on their home anniversary and sending out a monthly postcard and, keeping track of social media and things like that. And then I have 3 full-time agents, Nicole, Giselle, and Amanda. So we have a powerhouse of women here at Hurzwurm Homes.
Yep. And before I get into our appointment setting topic, for those, and everyone's forming teams, for those thinking of forming a team, or for those who have a small team and want to grow, maybe speak on how you put yours together, who came on first, how you delegated to be where you guys all are today.
Absolutely. I think, as a single agent, your first hire should absolutely be a transaction coordinator. Absolutely. And I think the great thing about a transaction coordinator is really there's so many TC companies out there that you don't have to have the stress of really having a quote unquote employee. They're paid per transaction. So it really kind of takes that stress off. And honestly, depending on how you how you preface your consultation, a lot of times that cost is even passed on to your client. So when we're working with buyers, as a buyer, you don't pay anything to use a real estate agent. But we do let them know at closing there is a transaction fee of $395. And no one even bats an eye. Obviously, we do so much for our clients. It's their choice who they work with. So a lot of times that fee really just gets passed on to your client if that's how you want to structure it. That's personally what we do. So I definitely think that is, because when you think about everything that goes on from contract to close, that's a lot of stuff, right? It's a lot of manpower, a lot of hours behind the computer. And when you're so focused on getting that deal to closing, what are you not doing? You're not prospecting, you're not following up. And so a transaction coordinator can really take those mundane tasks of following up with the lender, following up with title, setting the inspection, handling the addenda, all of that stuff that's super time consuming, when really as an agent, you should be prospecting, going on appointments, negotiating contracts, doing those jobs instead of, something that could be offloaded. So I would say definitely start with a transaction coordinator.
Yeah. Game changer for you, I'm sure.
Yeah. I went one full year without one. I sold 24 homes in my first 12 months as a single agent. And I don't know how the heck I did it without one. It was life-changing once I finally, let go and brought someone on.
Yeah, the letting go is the hard part. So getting onto our topic. So tell us about your current appointment setting system, how you receive those, how you schedule client requests, where those inbound leads come from. Is your business referral? Is it coming in from social and website? Is it manning the phones? Talk about how you guys organize everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So in 2021, we sold 83 homes, and 59 of those were actually repeat past clients or past client referrals. So very proud of those numbers. We're highly referral focused. The other largest bucket, there was about 10 that came from social media, and these were actually closings. Obviously, there's way more appointments, that we have that actually didn't close, but most do come through referrals or social media. Obviously, you have those one-offs where you meet someone at an open house or at the grocery store or whatnot. But for the most part, really social media and past client referral. So our process typically, we all say we love to get in this business for the time and flexibility, but ultimately, when you're setting appointments, you're kind of working around your client's schedule and their availability. And so we typically, ask for what are typically, the best days and times for you. And then we try and work that into our calendar. So, it's not, I think it's hard to say, okay, we only do consultations Wednesday from 4 to 6 because that may not work for someone who's working. But thankfully with Zoom and things like that, and with the amount of people that we have out of state, we do a lot of consults on our laptop. So it's a huge time saver, honestly, because you're not driving to a coffee shop or doing this. You can kind of control it. To really a 30-minute consultation is all you need, at least for a buyer. And then for a seller, it's a little bit different. Obviously, you're going out to the property and things like that. But we'll usually ask them a couple of days and times and then work that into our schedule.
Yeah. And when those calls, leads come in, do you have a shared email address, a shared phone number? Who's handling? You're not available all the time, but how does the team receive and disperse those inbound requests?
Yeah, absolutely. So typically I am copied on everything, as well as Danielle, my operations manager. And so I will kind of assess the situation and see the location that they're looking in, if they have a price point in mind, if they're first-time home buyers, if they're looking for waterfront, because our team members kind of specialize in different areas. And then I'm able to kind of decipher, okay, first of all, who has bandwidth to take this on? Because I know what everyone has working. I know Amanda on our team is amazing with first-time home buyers. So if it's a first-time home buyer, I'm probably going to bring her in on the call. If it's someone looking for luxury or waterfront, I know that Nicole is going to be all because that's her specialty. So I feel like I kind of assess the situation and then figure out who I'm going to partner with. And I think that's the important piece when you're joining, when you have a team, you're starting a team and you're trying to leverage and, especially with like a repeat past client or past client referral, you don't ever want someone just to feel passed off or handed off. And so it's a very delicate situation how you approach that. And so I typically am always on the first consultation and kind of, set expectations. And this is really a partnership. I'm going to be very involved in the process, but this is my, my buyer specialist who's going to be conducting most of the showings, really just so they get comfortable and don't feel like they're getting, they reached out to you and then they're getting a call from a stranger that they don't know. So really, you got to kind of handle that pass off, a little bit delicately.
No, understand. You're setting the expectation right away that this is how you work as a team and this is who you're going to be talking to or contacted by, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the communication amongst the team, are you all, is it weekly meetings? Do you have, discuss at the beginning of each week what each team member is going to be doing? Is it typically texting with each other or calling, or how do you stay organized with different appointments and different people handling them?
Yeah, great question. So we do have a group text going pretty much all day, every day. It's really a great way to quickly communicate, or if someone has a question, or, even just the camaraderie, like, Amanda earlier, hey guys, I found this great podcast. I had a 30-minute drive to the showing. You got to check this out. Or it's like, help, has anyone experienced this, or what addenda do I use? It's just kind of an ongoing, asking questions. There's a lot of interaction for us as a team. Several of my agents have been with me for over 3 years. Whereas some are kind of, just now getting into their second year in the business. And so a lot of my more seasoned agents are able to step in if I'm unavailable. And so there's really great camaraderie and team effort. And sometimes it's like, guys, help. I'm booked and I have 2 clients who want to see something at the same time. And one of the other girls will step in and handle a showing. And so we have a group text going at all times. And then Tuesdays are our meeting days. So I do a one-on-one with every single team member every Tuesday. It is 30 minutes. And we have a Google spreadsheet that's kind of a monthly business tracker. So they are required to submit that to me Monday evening. It has the appointments that they've gone on. It tracks any agreements that they've written, what they have under contract, and what they have closing for that month. And at the top, it has the goal, and then it has the actual numbers. So I can kind of look at that in advance and kind of see where we're at numbers wise, and then really utilize the most of that 30 minutes to, okay, where are we? Where do we want to be? What issues are you facing? What challenges are you facing? How can I help? And every week it's a little bit different. We're kind of using that as coaching time, maybe talking through different scripts or dialogues, or, how do you handle this inspection issue? Or, I have a difficult client, how would you manage this? So we kind of talk through any issues that they're facing, and then really look at their activities. Okay, here's your goal, and you've gone on, we're 50% there. What activities are you going to do that are measurable, that are going to get you to this goal? So, really holding them accountable. And so we do that every single week. And then once a month, we have an actual team meeting that's a little bit longer. It's about an hour. And so we, kind of all come together. We'll usually go to lunch after, just kind of talk about numbers wise, where we're at as a whole year to date. Any changes to the contract. What are you seeing in the market? What are your struggles? We'll talk about kind of our marketing that we have going on. Here's our monthly postcard that we sent out. Here's who had home anniversaries this month. Any upcoming listings, any off markets, just kind of, a check-in of what everybody has going on.
Wow, really great stuff there. And that was one of my questions down the line is, do you audit your appointments? Do you track them? Do you set goals? So you're doing all of that on your Tuesday meetings. And is it weekly, monthly, yearly? Do you guys get together and say, this is what we think we can do this year?
So yeah, typically Q4, we always sit down and, talk strategy about, goal setting, and every year is going to look different, right? I mean, everyone has different life events happening. I mean, great examples on my team. This last year, Nicole, she got married in January of 2021. She got pregnant on her honeymoon. They welcomed their first baby in October of 2021. So she had a crazy year, and a lot of really big life events that kind of took away time from business. Again, you're never going to get that time back. So, the team kind of took on a lot of that for her, where she was able to kind of enjoy that family time, and her business was still able to function. One of the other girls got married in November and took 3 weeks off and did a honeymoon. And so, the team was kind of there. So your goals are going to be different every year, kind of with what you have going on. I'm expecting our first child this upcoming July. And so, really my goals look different for this year as well. And we're really planning for that. So, I'm strictly trying to focus on working with sellers, and then any buyer that comes in, I'm having, someone on the team lead that effort. Obviously I'm still involved, but not the one kind of going out and showing. So, I think we kind of all at the end of Q4, really, what are our big goals next year? Obviously, personally is huge. Financially, like looking at it as a big whole, because another one of those things, back to why do you get into real estate? Most people get into it for more time, more money. I laugh at the more time thing because that's like challenge, or more flexibility. But honestly, it's like, what does the money matter if you don't have any time? Like, what are you going to spend it on, or who are you going to spend it with? And so I think it's important to kind of look at those personal goals too. And so I know my team's goals, they have big goals this year. 2 of them want to buy a home, buy their first home. And so I think it's very important to kind of know your why, because know what you're working towards, because especially in a market like this where you're running 110 miles an hour, you're writing 10 offers for one to get accepted. It's easy to get burnout, and it's easy to get exhausted. And you kind of have to go back to those overall goals of, why am I doing what I'm doing? And, it's going to be so worth it when we get here.
Yeah. Big deal for so many agents is balance, and what you just talked about, and to have that, as part of your goals. It's not just all about production. As far as the execution of each appointment, do you have kind of a set process or checklist for your listing presentation, or your showings, or your buyers that you take out, something that everyone on the team follows?
Yeah, absolutely. For all of the above, I think it's so important. Systems and processes, and all of that good stuff. So we have a buyer guide that we have, we have a print copy as well as like a digital flip book copy. So they're getting that either electronically if we're going to be meeting via Zoom, or we're giving them a copy at the physical appointment if they come into our office, or we meet at a coffee shop. We have an overall list for a buyer consultation. We have an overall list of questions that we ask, but at the same time, I think this is such a relationship-based business. And when you've been doing this long enough, you kind of know the questions to ask and know what to focus on. And so it's really a conversation, right? We know we hit all of the big ticket items and all of the important questions that there are to ask, but it's more of a conversation. And sometimes, if you just sit back and listen, it will lead into, okay, this is the next question that we should actually ask. So we do have a list, that we try and touch on, but the buyer consultation is a little bit more conversational. And then we do have a follow-up strategy after the consultation, depending on if they're pre-approved or not before the call. Typically before someone has a meeting with us, either in person or on Zoom, we send them an introduction email. We're looking forward to meeting. Here is our preferred local lender. They've worked with over 150 of our past clients. Here's a link to start the application. If you can complete this before our consult on Thursday, wonderful. Then we'll get into the really fun specifics, knowing your budget. We say that's your golden ticket, or I forget what the email says, something like that. This is your first step. This is your golden ticket to start the home buying process. We have our flip book digital buyer guide in there. So they get that actually before they ever meet with us. And some people have already gotten pre-approved. Like that's when they're in it, they're good. It's like, okay, this is going to be a good consultation. Like we had one earlier today where she already had her pre-approval. It was so productive because you can really just dive in. Other times it's like, I'm so sorry, we got your email. We've been very busy. We need to reach out to the lender. We haven't yet. And so then we set that expectation. Once you're pre-approved, then we will be able to get you set up on your custom collection, with homes that match your criteria. We really do need to know, the type of financing that you're doing, because that's going to play a role. If someone is FHA or VA, well, they're most likely not buying a condo. It's like those are important details that we need to know. And obviously, the first rule of thumb, who wants to go take out unqualified buyers and waste your time? Like that is very important. And so it's very clear. It's like, here's the buyer guide. Step number 1, connect with an agent. Step number 2, get pre-approved or have your proof of funds. Like that is what it is. And so we do follow up after that with kind of instructions. And then once they are pre-approved, then we set them up on their own custom collection. And it's a pretty seamless process from there on out. But we do have kind of email templates and drafts for those follow-up conversations. And we're working on implementing systems right now for those kind of long-term buyers. Because I know, especially in this market, there's some people that are like, we want to buy, we're not quite ready, we need to save more or this. And so it's like, how do you keep them captured and captivated and, make sure you didn't waste that hour consultation. So we're kind of putting in a follow-up system now through our Compass platform, where it's going to be kind of an action plan where they get email follow-ups, where everything's automated, but it's in our voice, and it'll shoot us reminders to send them a text and things like that. So we're working on getting systems for those long-term buyers, but definitely for people who are active, ready to go, we kind of have that down.
Yeah, engaging how ready they are to transact, and like you said, not wasting your time is key. Anything to add on your philosophy with handling objections with that initial consultation and trying to maybe get an appointment with a new lead or a new client coming in?
Like handling objections if someone doesn't want to meet, or what type of objection?
We're not sure if we're ready. We're just looking, trying to get that initial face-to-face, like you said, to, sit and meet and talk and learn how ready they are.
I mean, to be honest, my answer may not be a popular one. This is not a looky-loo market. It's just not. And I don't want my team wasting time and burning the candle at both ends for people who are not serious. And so it's like, if people are kind of giving us those signals at the beginning, we'll be happy to, set them up on an email, give them our home buyer guide, give them all the information. And then, typically these things come through social media. And so they're already following us. They're seeing us put out consistent content. Maybe we'll put them on a drip campaign where they're getting emails. But, really it's like, I don't necessarily want to meet with someone who's not ready to get pre-approved. Like that's a waste of time for everyone. Again, especially in such a low inventory market where buyers are really having to waive a lot of contingencies to even have
get in the game.
A chance.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't really want appointments with those.
Right. I get it. And I want to ask you about how you leverage video. I've seen some of your videos, some of it's personal, which is great. Some of it is listing and tours, also great. How do you leverage and use video on social and to sell homes down there?
Yeah, absolutely. All great questions. We use video all the time. And I've been using it for years. And, I know some agents are so nervous and, oh my gosh, I don't want to be on camera. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. And it's like, get over it. No one is focusing on that other than you. Like, stop re-recording. If you mess up, it makes you more human. People work with people they like and trust, and you have to show up as your authentic self and be personable and show your value and show your knowledge. And people want to get to know you because, again, people work with who they like. And so, we definitely do more professional, high quality video a lot for our listings. So it doesn't matter the price point. And this is one thing that I love about our team too, and I think has contributed to our success, is we never look at someone for their budget or their price point. I don't care if you're looking at $100,000 condo or $1 million property, you're going to get the same experience. And I think people really resonate with that. And it's like, you're going to get a luxury experience no matter if you're a luxury price point or not. We're not going to look at you for what you have in your bank account. And so whether I'm taking a $100,000 listing or $1 million listing, we do a 3D tour, a video, and professional photography on every single one. And, a little intro, outro, and it's fun and it's professional, and there's drone footage and you're selling the location. And so I think that's very important. That's something that, we implement into our listing marketing. But then, we like to also kind of do video about our team. And so, a little team commercial and having it very high quality to show yourself as a professional, to show your city. And then I recently started doing little smaller clip, 30 to 60 second videos called Lattes with Leah, just talking like agent tips, buyer tips, seller tips, get to know Leah, just, little fun things. And those definitely have had really nice interaction. And then I think another thing that people love and are on kind of daily is Instagram and Facebook stories. So obviously they go away within 24 hours unless you save them as a highlight, but I pretty much don't let a day pass. Like, if you click on my name, you're going to see some type of story. So we try and show the behind the scenes. I get on there and I talk about whatever's going on, or, show behind the scenes of homes, or just very honest. And I think people like that. And it happens over time. It's consistency, right? But I've been at Trader Joe's before and had someone be like, oh my gosh, I follow you on Instagram. I love your dog. He is so funny. I love that he loves the pool. And I'm like, that was so weird.
Works.
Like, that's great. But yeah, I have seen a huge, I wouldn't even say huge return on investment. I mean, yes, like we pay for the professional videos, but I've never boosted a post on Instagram or Facebook yet. It's all been organic, and we've gotten so much business from that, or just like people trust you because they see that you're actually working. I mean, if I had $1 for every time I heard someone's a real estate agent, it's like, I'd be up there with Bill Gates because there's just so many, especially in Florida. But I mean, you're really showing up as a true professional. Like, no, I actually do this full time. I'm showing up every day, so it's been huge for us.
And it's personal. It doesn't always have to be listings. It can be the dog video or a video of you and team. Yeah.
That's what people want to see, honestly. I will tell you, the personal stuff gets so much more engagement typically.
Yeah.
And it's important to show the listing and professional side of things, but ultimately it's putting that personal touch that is what's going to get people's attention. I think everyone has far too many agents in their news feed that's like, boom, just sold, boom, just listed. And it's like, how can you educate? Or, it's like, if you're showing a beautiful beachfront condo, posting a picture from the balcony, what would your happy hour drink of choice be on this beautiful balcony? Just kind of figuring out how to keep people engaged, adding little polls to your story where your followers can actually engage, or asking them questions, getting their feedback, guess the price of what this home is going to be listed at, really trying to think outside the box and have people engage with you, because then your post is going to get more it's going to get more eyes on it. The more people that are commenting, not just liking it, but the more people who are commenting and you're commenting back, that's going to be at the tip top of other people's news feeds.
Right. All great stuff, Leah. And again, we thank you for your time, especially on Tuesdays when you have your one-on-one meetings with your team. Any other things that you're working on or goals for the rest of this year, or anything on the appointment setting topic? You mentioned a couple systems. I was going to ask you if you used any systems or technology to help you and team.
Yeah, we're really trying to dive into the Compass platform and take advantage of a lot of things that are offered to us here. So those auto emails and things like that, we're going to be putting into place. And then, we have kind of outsourced some of our marketing. So all of our past clients get a monthly postcard, newsletter. So, we're really leveraging those things out. But yeah.
Very good. Again, thank you for your time. Pleasure to meet you. We appreciate you sharing what you and the Hurzwurm home groups are doing. Sounds like you guys have a great plan, and wish you nothing but more success with your business and with your family.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Leah.
Take care.
And today, being a double header, we have another agent with a different perspective and his best practices on how to improve your appointment setting skills. I would like to welcome and thank Travis Anderson of eXp Realty and the Travis Anderson team up in the St. Paul area for joining us today. Hey, Travis, how you doing?
I'm very well. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Thank you. We appreciate you joining us with this Agent Advantage webinar and appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
So why don't we start with you telling us about your team? You have a small but mighty team. You mentioned that your goal this upcoming year is to hit 100 transactions. Great. And maybe tell the audience a little bit about you and your team and your market up there.
Yeah, sure. We've got a small team. Last year we did 88 sides. We've got 2 administrative staff. One handles our transaction processes, and then another handles the marketing side of things. Both are full-time. And then we have 4 sales agents, and then myself would be the 5th sales agent. So that's how the team is structured. And yeah, hopefully we can knock out 100 transactions this year or more.
Nice. Sounds good. And in our call yesterday, you also mentioned you have kind of a unique team structure with the profit sharing setup. Why don't you just talk about that quick for people on the call with teams before we get into the appointment setting topic?
Yeah, absolutely. So as a team owner, retention is obviously always on the mind, right? And so one of the things we implemented 3 years ago, I think at this point, is I'll set a cost of business for the year. So I'll project what the expenses are, project what I want for profit, and then we'll put a dollar amount on that, divide by the average commission, right? And anything over that amount, we'll share in the profit. And the way that we share is we share in direct proportion to the people who get us to the goal, right? So the people that are selling the most actually get the most in profit share. The transaction manager and marketing manager also get some percentage of every file afterwards as well. So yeah, we just created this profit sharing structure, and it's been really great. I mean, last year we shared, it was like 37,000. I cut checks directly to the agents in that amount. So I think everybody liked it.
Yeah, it's great. It really motivates and keeps it as a true team where everyone, profits from the results. Great.
Yeah.
Great. So tell us about your, your current time management and your appointment setting process with the Travis Anderson team.
Sure. So we're pretty autonomous, right? So everybody sets their own appointments. We do not have a team calendar or anything like that. We just talk about appointments on a weekly basis when we meet for our team meeting. And so, most of the leads that are coming in, the way that we have it structured, and we'll probably get into this a little bit more, but the majority of the leads that are coming in as a direct result of our marketing efforts going out specific to the agents. And so, if Scott, for example, we send marketing out for Scott on behalf of Scott, and the lead then would call Scott. So he's then responsible for setting his own appointments. As far as scripts and things, we do use the LP Mama script. If you're familiar with that, if a lead comes in or we've identified them as a lead, we go through LP Mama as an acronym, so location, price, mortgage, agent, motivation, and then we ask for an appointment. So that's kind of the way we're doing that with the majority of the people that are coming in. If they identify themselves as a lead but they're not ready to set an appointment, then we're labeling them in some fashion. We use the ABC method. It was taught to me in like 2005, and it's worked for me ever since, so there's no reason to change it. And people that are highly motivated, we label an A. If they're motivated maybe between 60 and 180 days, we label a B, and then everybody else we label a C, and we're following up with them according to that system.
Really important with your time management to gauge the readiness of every client. And I think a lot of people fail with wasting time with someone who is unqualified, but you're doing that right out of the gate and putting each A, B, or C lead client on a different path or a different touch point follow-up. That
right.
Works.
Yeah. And even with buyers, once we meet with them in person, we have a document that asks them, are you an A, B, or C buyer? So even if we label them ourselves on the office side of things as a lead, we also ask them to identify themselves as how motivated they are, right? Yeah. If you've sold your home or you're relocating or what have you, you're probably an A. And we always say, what would it take? What would it take to make you an A buyer? So that way we're giving the most attention to the people that need it the most.
Yeah, very good. And setting the expectation right away for on the client side. Yeah. So the roles for each team member, do some go into a round robin of who gets assigned it? And then maybe you said you do have a meeting, but how does the team communicate? And so everyone's on the same page. I'm sure there's a little give and take and people covering for each other every week, right?
Yeah, good question. The covering for each other is pretty simple. Because of the profit share, it's removed a lot of that, what's in it for me conversation. Yeah. So we just help each other at the end of the year, the fourth quarter, we're all receiving checks, and it seems to be motivating for the first 3 quarters that we all help each other in any way that we can. So the help, I don't think, is an issue. If we're not available, we're not available, but we're helping pretty easily. Most of the leads are going to come in directly through our marketing efforts, and we market specific to the agent. So I mentioned Scott earlier. Scott's database is about 500 people. They'll get an email a month. They'll get a giveaway every single month. They'll get postcards every single month specific to Scott. We help him with his Facebook advertising and social presence. All he has to do is just be a really good person. And when the leads come in, use a couple of scripts, set the appointment, and move on with his life. So most of the leads are just going direct to the agent. We talk about it on a weekly basis, and then I keep a list. And if I know that they're going on an appointment, I'll bring it up the next week and ask them how the appointment went. And we'll coach through that. If it's a lead from my database, which is the vast majority today, then I'm usually talking to Kendra. She's been with me since 2016. She's kind of the lead sales agent. I'll talk to her. We'll discuss who we're gonna, transfer the lead off to. But it's usually based on production, and it's based on people who are bringing production. So a little different. If Scott sold 3 homes last month, let's say, then the next lead that comes in, I want to give to Scott. I don't want to pass it on to one of the other people who maybe sold 0. And I know that sounds sort of weird, but the thought process is because they're giving more to the team, we're going to return that back to them in the form of profit share and in the form of leads.
So you make it sound easy. All Scott has to do is be nice. Then it's fine. So how
It's
about
probably not that.
your?
It's probably not quite that easy.
Yeah,
Competence is obviously very important.
if
So
you talk to him, yeah. So talk about your process for listing presentations, maybe a buyer appointment. Who does them? And you mentioned you have kind of a set checklist that everybody follows. Tell us how those different types of appointments work for your team.
sure. Yeah. Once an appointment's scheduled, we give the information to Crystal on our team, and then she follows a checklist all the way to closing. And so the first few weeks are, of course, going to be specific to the appointment, or the tasks involved will be specific to the appointment date, I should say. Once they're a client of ours, then there's a checklist of how we get them to show homes or how we get them to listing. And then once they're searching for homes or listing, there's another checklist for that. But it is one checklist. So we kind of use the if-then scenario. That way we don't have 4 checklists running around.
Yeah.
It's an Excel spreadsheet. If buyer, then do this. If seller, then do that. If both buyer and seller, then do this. So Crystal just follows that checklist based on the appointment that's set. And then when we give her the file. You had asked more about that. What else did you ask? Oh, the appointment process, right?
Yep, correct.
Yeah, so we use, I used to be with Keller Williams, and Diana Kokoska has a really good method for appointments on the listing side of things. We transfer that into kind of a structure of an appointment. And so again, nothing we do is unique to us. We have taken almost everything other than the profit share model, but even that other companies profit share.
Yeah.
So we, during the appointment, let me circle back.
Yeah.
So the process for an appointment is you get it scheduled, you put it in the calendar, you invite the customer to the appointment, whether that be Zoom or in person. We're asking for what their preference is, but we'll invite them in the calendar. Then we're going to send them a pre-listing packet or a pre-buyer packet via email and in the mail. Okay, and that all happens beforehand. And then we're going to call before the appointment, maybe have a 10 or 15 minute phone call, and we're going to run through that script I talked about before, that LP Mama script. Yeah. And that works for both buyer and seller, right? Because if they're selling their home, they're likely moving somewhere else. So we go through that script. Yeah. Then once we get to the appointment day, we'll text or call and confirm that the appointment is still happening. So by the time we get to meeting, they've been communicated with us about 6 times, and it's all fairly purposeful. Once we get to the meeting, then we follow Diana Kokoska's process where we set the agenda. We tell them we're going to ask for their business. We set 3 specific goals. One is, making sure that they get all their questions answered. One would be helping better understand their process and how we can help. And then the last would be to agree that we're going to work today. And then it's fluid. So long as we set that up, right? I have 3 objectives. This is what they are. They agree to those objectives. And then it's very fluid. We try to get to know them better. We try to understand what they're looking for. We answer their questions. And then naturally you just say, sounds like we should work together. And you bring out the paperwork. So on the appointments, when I look back in my memory, if I don't set it up properly, I've done something wrong. It's probably not going to happen for us. So
great, good stuff. Well said, Travis. Can you talk a little bit about those weekly team meetings you mentioned? Maybe how they're run and what the structure and the points or topics you cover in each one of those meetings.
Sure. Yeah, we do have an agenda, and I used to be a part of the BNI network, and they're really rigid in their agenda. And so we kind of took that just so we had a purpose each week. We start with our mission, vision, and values. So we always start there. And then we look at the goal for the year. And so, like, for example, this year, it's 100 transaction sides, but 35 million is the goal. So we'll say 35 million is our goal, and here's how many pending and sold that we have so far, something like that. And then we'll move down to immediate needs. So we'll just go around the room, and anybody who has an immediate need, we'll address it right away. And then we'll go to client updates and appointment updates. And so then same thing, we'll start back over, go around the room, and everybody will update us with their clients and their appointments and how they're going with their week or how last week went.
Yeah.
And then from there, we'll talk about the marketing. And so our marketing specialist will do her thing, and then we'll move to the transaction. So our transaction manager will do her thing, and then we'll wrap it up with a motivational quote. And then I always just say, is there anything else that we need to talk about before we wrap up today? So it's pretty simple.
Yeah, perfect though. Good kind of pitch to follow for other meetings. Prospecting. Talk about, to get those leads and appointments flowing, keep the pipeline moving. Talk about your prospecting strategy and process that you use.
Yeah. Our big thing is our own personal sphere of influence, circle of influence, database, whatever you want to call it. Each person that's on the team has their own list of names and phone numbers and emails, etc. And so our job is to help, first off, build it from 0 to whatever it needs to be to hit their goal. And we just use a factor of 10. I'm not sure if that's a perfect number. It's irrelevant to me. It works on our team. But if your goal is 30, I need 300 people in a database, right? If your goal is 50, I need 500 people in your database. So step number 1 is getting to that point. Some people it's easier, right? Some people are well connected. They're well connected at their church, at their community, at their past job, whatever, and they can get from 0 to 300 in a couple of weeks. Other people, we have to implement a second strategy to build their database. So maybe it's knocking on doors, maybe it's joining Chamber of Commerce, whatever. So step number 1 for us is building your own personal database to a number that should meet your goals. And I always tell them, if we build your database to 300 and your goal is 30, you're probably selling 30 homes next year, right? Because we need to, farm the database. For example, we need to care for it in order for us to get the return that we're looking for. So that's pretty much it. As far as what we track, we're usually tracking the number of contacts people are having on a weekly basis. I like to see 50 purposeful outbound contacts. And, if you're doing your work, that type of stuff, math just works, right? If you're making 50 contacts a week, if you've got 350 or 400 people in your database, and again, you're a competent agent, you follow the appointment process, that type of stuff, it just works.
Yeah.
Right. Where I see it fall off, and even on people on our team in the past, or people even currently today, if there's any struggle, or let's say when I struggle, it's when I'm not making my 50 contacts a week. Right. So that's kind of the prospecting efforts.
No, super important. Is it time blocked in, or do you just say 50 a week, do them whenever you can do them? Do you set certain hours a day, or it's not that rigid?
Yeah, it's not rigid at all on our team. I'll be honest, there's lots of things I could improve upon, right? Yeah. Maybe we could bring in and do 2 days a week where we prospect together, and that might increase production and profitability. There's things like that we're not doing, and I'll be perfectly honest there. I do it on a weekly basis instead of daily, because sometimes you'll have a funeral and you can't make 10 contacts today, or sometimes you have a wedding, or sometimes something happens in a transaction. It's like, it's okay, right? Life happens. Tomorrow do 20 contacts to catch up, or whatever it might be. So that's why we track weekly.
Yeah. Oh, if you're planting 50 seeds a week, it's inevitable that's going to come around in business down the road. So really good.
Yep. Correct. Yep.
Also, you mentioned social. I know you guys do some contests and ways to get engagement with your clients. Talk about your social strategy, maybe some of those contests for engagements and other content that you use on social.
Yeah. If it's okay, I'll expand upon it. Instead of just social, I'll just disclose to you how we do all of the marketing, and social is a component. I like to tell people we hit them by air, land, and sea. So if I'm only doing social, that's air, right? If I'm only doing mailings, that's land, right? We like to hit people from all different aspects. So we do one postcard a month to anybody in our database that has an address. That's specific to the agent on our team. So again, Scott's sending postcards out on behalf of Scott. He doesn't send them, but it looks like he does. We send an email on behalf of each agent. In that email, we do a giveaway. Now, there's no signing up for it. If you're in our database, you're submitted. You're in the drawing, right? So when we send out our newsletter, our e-newsletter, we bring that up. Then we do a separate giveaway on Facebook, and all you have to do on there is, make a comment or whatever, right? So we'll do a pie giveaway. We'll do movie tickets. I think this last month we did like Wild tickets or something.
Yeah. And
so we're trying to pick something that's like $100. It's a $1,200 investment a year. It's not that much. And we're giving a nice big, when somebody receives a $100 gift, they're pretty thankful for it. So that's kind of how we do that. And then on the social presence, Maddie on our team, our marketing manager, she's posting something at least once a week as well. She's creating posts for people on the team so they can post themselves too.
Very good. Roadside emergency kit, I think, was one of the giveaways.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yep.
Really good. Probably wouldn't work in Arizona like it does up here, but I thought that was kind of cool. I'm sure people love that.
Yeah, that was funny when it showed up too. The box was massive, right?
Yeah.
And I said, Maddie, what the hell is this? She's like, oh, that's that roadside assistance kit. It's like, okay, well, yeah. Obviously, we're not giving away a $20 gift. It's $100. I mean, it was massive. So hopefully people liked it.
Yeah, great. And you also mentioned goals. Any specific goals for this upcoming year, or how often do you revisit or adjust or monitor the goals you have or your team has?
Yeah, great question. We're looking at each individual agent and their goals and their database goal. So on a weekly basis, and it's really needs based. You can tell when somebody's hitting it out of the park, and you can tell when they're not, right? Especially when you're getting in front of people on a weekly basis. So if someone's struggling, it's normally bringing it back to that database, trying to get them motivated around getting it from wherever it is to wherever it needs to be, right? And then reminding them that number then is next year's goal, right? Again, if you build it to 300 this year, it's 30 sales next year. So that's how we handle that. As far as team goals or personal goals on the team, I'd like to do less production this year from my current database and then bring in a separate lead source. So Maddie and I are working on a website specific to law enforcement. I have family in law enforcement, and law enforcement has been left by the wayside in some areas in the last couple of years, and so we're going to bring them to the forefront in our team. It's going to look like a separate standalone company. And so she and I are really focusing on that with the concept of getting, maybe another 12 sales or something through a brand new source, right? So I know that's maybe a little, little all over the place, but each individual person has their own goal. We break it down to the database, and we're helping them make that happen for them.
Oh, really good. I mean, listening to you, you are very laser focused on, agents like, oh, I'm just looking for more business. How do I get better? How do I grow my production? But the number of contacts you're making every week. You have a set, sounds like a new niche or group that you're going after. You're taking the offense here. So really, really insightful. In closing, how about looking back, anything, on the topic of, setting appointments and getting new appointments in that strategy, anything you learned over the years that kind of changed or you improved on, or maybe anything on that topic that you're focusing on for the rest of this year that someone else could benefit from?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think treating every appointment like it's an appointment is probably the most important thing. And I always tell people there's a difference between an appointment and a consult. So if someone reaches out to me and we start that 10-minute conversation or 15-minute conversation, and we immediately uncover that they're not a lead, but they still want help from us, I'm fine helping, right? But That's not an appointment, right? That's a consult. So I really want, or what I've really learned over the years is at least recognizing the difference. I'm not tracking consults as much. I'll put them in a separate bucket for that ABC lead follow-up.
Yeah.
But an appointment is somebody who is, ready, willing, and able to make a move, right? And I need to determine that pretty quickly. And once that's determined, treat them all exactly the same, even if it's your twin brother. I have a twin brother, right? Even if it's your twin brother, treat them exactly the same. That would be my advice. That I still falter. That's the biggest challenge I have, is if somebody reaches out to me that's a close friend and they want to go look at a home, or they want me to come and look at their home, it's just easy to say, yeah, what works for you? And then to ignore the process. We need to stay focused on that process. And it's my fault. It's one of my biggest faults too, but I think it's just a salesperson's problem. So if I look back at it, I could improve my processes. That's what I would improve. And that's what I work on all the time.
Very good. Thank you, Travis. Really well said. Appreciate your insight and your time. Best of luck to you and the team for the rest of the year. And we really appreciate you joining our Agent Advantage webinar.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks.
And I want to give a mention to our Agent Advantage Insider Facebook page, closed group. Go to Facebook, Agent Advantage Insider. You can request to join and see everything we are doing at Agent Advantage, when the next upcoming webinars like this one will be archived on the site. If you want to reach us, feedback, comments, email agents@rate.com. We would love to hear from you. And thank you again, Travis. Thank you, everyone, for joining. On behalf of the Agent Advantage team, I'm Kurt Klaus, and have a great rest of your day.